Alright guys, so I just wanted to put together a quick little tutorial video on how to set up your workflow slash template with the new Éclat Mix Essentials package. I understand it's probably not the most straightforward thing, so let's get started. This is your project as you open it. Disregard the little voice channel right here, that's just me. And so the first thing we'll do is think about what your workflow is and how exactly you want to set up your template. So in particular, I like to have my drums up top, up first. So I'll take these two tracks, I'll group them together, hitting Command G or Control G if you're on a PC. And I'll name this group, I'll name it drums. And then our first track, we can name it kick. We'll name our second track snare. We'll do hi-hat for the third one. Command T to create a new audio track. All right, and so we got these all beautifully set up. And the next thing we'll do is set up our normal instruments. So let's say we want a MIDI instrument, and let's say it's bass, right? So we'll group this, again, Command G. We'll name it bass. Name this bass. Maybe you have two of them. So, last but not least, let's do an instrument, right? So, we'll do an audio track, Command T. We'll group it into this one, and we'll name it instrument. Cool. We'll say guitar. All right, so we got our buses, which is the drum bus, the bass bus, and the instrument bus. And then we have our channel strips, the kick, the snare, hi-hat, bass, guitar. So the first thing we'll do is we'll go over to our awesome Mix Essentials tab. I set that one up personally. You'll probably just grab it out of your user library, whatever you're doing. And we'll drop our low-end channel strip on the kick because we want to bring the fatness in on that kick, right? Over here, you see it's 10 hertz. That lets all the low end through. It does not cut off any low end. For our snare, however, we might want just the regular channel strip. We'll drop that on the snare, and you'll see it gets cut off at 120 hertz. That actually leaves room for the kick to breathe and the bass to breathe. We'll do the same thing with our hi-hat. Drop the channel strip on the hi-hat. Pro tip is you can set these settings right here as your default audio track. So you hit save as default audio track, right? Now I suggest you doing it with the settings on the low end channel. And the reason for that is that if you set your snare channel, for example, or the Éclat channel strip as your default, what'll happen, see it says, do you want to overwrite? Yep. Well, what'll happen is if I create a new track, hitting Command T, we have this new track, and it has the Éclat channel strip on it. But let's say I wanted this to be bass. Well, now I just created a bass track with a high pass on it, and that's no bueno. So ideally, you want your low-end channel strip to be your default audio track. Yes. So now, when you create a new track, Command T, you have no high pass on, which is great. And you could do that. You have to do the same thing over for MIDI tracks, but I suggest the low end channel strip for your default audio and MIDI tracks. All right, back to what we were doing. On our buses, we want our mix bus rack. So here we go. Slap the mix bus on everything. All the mix buses. And then last but not least, we slap on that Éclat master chain on our master channel. All right. And here we are. This is my voice through the master chain, through the low end channel, with a gate and a compressor kind of affecting things, giving me a little bit of that low end. And you'll notice it's actually kind of quiet now. The main reason for that is because everything is minus 16 dB. And the reason for that is that when you're mixing, if you're mixing at a normal level, everything's going to be at nominal level over here. You're going to see that it's always peaking at 0. So with this, and that leaves no room for headroom in the mastering stage after you're finished with your mix. Ideally, you want 6 decibels or minus 6 decibels of headroom for your master when you send it to your mastering engineer, or if you're going to do it yourself. With this channel strip, it automatically slaps negative 16 on your channels, so you're mixing quieter, and then it reboosts it over here at the mastering chain. Now, when you're finished up with your whole mix and all that fun stuff, you can decide to leave that on there. Ideally, if you're going to send it over to someone or you're going to master it in a whole nother session, you're just going to click off this utility. Boom. And what that does is it takes this output gain and it shuts it off. It basically makes this value 0. So we'll slap it back on. Boom, 16 or 6 dB louder. So now this is your template. You got your drums with the bus, the Éclat low-end channel strip on your kick, regular channel strip on all your instruments, bass, you got your mix bus on the bass bus, right? And it's nice to, name it bus if you want to. And then you got your low-end channel strip on your bass right here. We'll slap that one on there too. Low-end channel strip on this bass. Boom. Instrument, Éclat mix bus, guitar, nothing on there yet. So we'll slap the channel strip on there. And we're getting to work. Now, all these, so the channel strips send into the bus, and then the bus gets sent to the master. And the master is where all the magic happens. So, I hope this helps. This is going to be probably the most effective way to use these plugins, and it's honestly the quickest way to set up your template and to get producing. Everything's already set. And honestly, the best thing to do is to go file, save this set, and save it as production template 1, right? And you can save it into your documents or Ableton projects or whatever you do, you know? So, and then once you start, you just go ahead, open up that production template, save as, right? So you don't save over your thing, and then save it as song 1, right? And now you're starting with your fresh template, your whole signal flow, and you didn't have to create all your tracks and do all that mumbo jumbo. Now you can just get right to work. I hope this helped.